Welcome back to our channel, your ultimate insider destination for the most explosive daytime drama. Today is a spectacular day to dive into the treacherous waters of Los Angeles, where corporate empires are crumbling and legendary romances are going up in flames. Grab your favorite drink, buckle up, and let's get straight into the jaw-dropping secrets rocking the fashion world today. The executive suite at Forrester Creations has transformed into a dark, suffocating sanctuary for two completely shattered souls. Steffy Forrester Finnegan has just touched down from the absolute disaster in Monte Carlo, and she is a woman pushed far beyond her breaking point. The glamorous European sunshine has been violently replaced by the cold, harsh reality of the ultimate betrayal. She hurled her wedding ring directly at John Finn Finnegan's chest on that beach, leaving it to bounce off the man who chose his psychotic mother's dark secrets over his own wife's safety. Now, Steffy is back on her home turf, but her corporate sanctuary is already occupied by another casualty of love. Carter Walton sits in the shadows of the CEO office, a bottle of premium liquor serving as his only companion. The brilliant, dependable COO is a fundamentally broken man. Daphne Rose Walton has fled to Paris, convinced that her devastating premature menopause diagnosis means Carter deserves a woman with functioning ovaries. The sheer cruelty of their shattered family dreams has left Carter completely unmoored, reckless, and drowning in a suffocating ocean of grief. When Steffy walks through those double doors, the collision of their shared devastation is palpable, electric, and incredibly dangerous. These are two titans of industry, both violently stripped of their romantic futures in the span of 48 hours. The alcohol flows freely, burning down the usual professional boundaries. Steffy's legendary fury begins to crack, giving way to a raw, primal vulnerability that she rarely lets the world see. Tears stream down her face as she looks at the man who has always been a steadfast, unyielding pillar of strength for her family. But this is not a moment of gentle comfort. The energy crackling between them is dark, heavy, and dripping with lethal implications. "All I want to do is just be free of the woman who is trying to destroy my family," Steffy cries out, her voice echoing off the walls of the executive suite. The words hang in the air, heavy with a terrifying finality. This is not just a desperate plea for emotional support. This sounds like a desperate cry for permanent elimination. Carter listens intently, his jaw clenched tight. His eyes, usually warm and diplomatic, are hardened by his own agonizing, paralyzing loss. Carter is a fixer by trade. He fixes broken contracts, he fixes PR nightmares, and right now, he is looking at a woman who desperately needs a permanent fix to a monster named Sheila. The vibe in this room is not seductive, it is incredibly dangerous. It is the terrifying birth of a dark, irreversible pact. Are we witnessing the beginning of a ruthless hit job? Will Carter Walton cross the ultimate moral line, utilizing his vast resources to give Steffy the permanent freedom she is begging for? Meanwhile, thousands of miles above the Atlantic Ocean, sheer panic is setting in. Finn is trapped inside a commercial airliner headed straight for Los Angeles, staring blankly out the window as the jet engines roar. The crushing, suffocating weight of his monumental failure is tearing him apart from the inside out. He genuinely thought he could handle Sheila. He foolishly thought his silence would protect the fragile peace of their Monte Carlo reunion. He was dead wrong, and the consequences are proving to be apocalyptic. The haunting image of Steffy ripping off her wedding ring is violently burned into his retinas. The sheer, unadulterated disgust in her eyes when she realized he had packed his mother's twisted obsession alongside their luggage is a living nightmare he cannot wake up from. Finn is scrambling, his heart pounding against his ribs. He is a brilliant doctor used to saving lives on the operating table, but right now, his marriage is flatlining, and he does not have the surgical tools to resuscitate it. "I need to get to you, Steffy, before it's too late," Finn mutters to himself, his voice trembling with sheer, unbridled desperation as the plane cuts through the clouds. The ticking clock is absolutely deafening. He is thousands of miles away, completely unaware that his furious wife is currently pouring her shattered heart out to a heartbroken, intoxicated Carter Walton. Every single moment Finn spends trapped in the air is a moment Steffy spends solidifying her cold resolve. Will he land at LAX only to find that the locks on the Cliff House have been changed? Will he rush frantically to Forrester Creations only to discover his wife in the arms of another man? Or worse, will he arrive just in time to watch Steffi and Carter execute a ruthless, cold-blooded plan that will put his biological mother in the ground once and for all? The agonizing race against time has never been this intense, and Finn is losing his grip on reality with every passing second. Back on the sun-drenched California coast, the crashing waves outside the Spencer beach house cannot drown out the explosive, high-stakes confrontation happening right in the living room. While Spencer is desperately trying to numb the agonizing pain of Elektra Forrester's final, brutal rejection. He is taking the tough love advice of his father, Bill, and his brother, Wyatt. He is actively trying to move on, burying his heartbreak under a reckless new distraction. And his chosen distraction is none other than Melissa Dillon. But Katie Logan Spencer is not about to let her youngest son march blindly into a treacherous, toxic trap. Katie arrives at the beach house like a Category 5 hurricane, armed with fierce maternal fury and razor-sharp instincts. She takes one look at the cozy, intimate situation unfolding between Will and Dylan and immediately launches into a ruthless, rapid-fire interrogation that leaves no room for excuses. "You say you miss Elektra," Katie demands, her voice slicing through the heavy tension like a freshly sharpened blade. "Then why are you hooking up with her best friend?" The brutal accusation hangs in the air, a massive, glaring red flag that Will is desperately trying to ignore. Katie does not hold back an ounce of her wrath. She points out the sheer, undeniable absurdity of Dylan's presence in his life. She aggressively highlights the highly suspicious timing, the glaring gold-digging undertones, and the undeniable toxicity of jumping straight into bed with the woman who stood by his ex-girlfriend's side. Katie knows deep in her bones that Dylan is up to no good, and she is fiercely determined to rip the blinders off her son's eyes before he makes a catastrophic mistake. But Will is a Spencer, and the legendary Spencer stubbornness runs deep and hot in his veins. He is exhausted, emotionally drained, and entirely sick of the constant, suffocating interference that destroyed his relationship with Elektra in the first place. The relentless manipulation from Ivy, the corporate espionage, the endless family feuds, Will has reached his absolute limit, and he is ready to detonate. Instead of heeding his mother's desperate, urgent warning, Will physically recoils. He violently shrugs off Katie's fierce maternal concern with a cold, dismissive glare that screams defiance. He makes it devastatingly clear that he does not need her approval, her unsolicited advice, or her constant disturbances. He is choosing Dylan. He is actively choosing the messy, complicated distraction. But as Katie storms out of the beach house, slamming the door behind her and leaving Will to his reckless romance, the ultimate, terrifying question remains: is Will walking straight into a catastrophic disaster that will cost him his family, his fortune, and his future? The corporate battlefield at Forrester Creations is about to witness a vicious bloodbath of its own. The design office is crackling with venomous, hostile energy as Elektra Forrester finally corners Melissa Dillon. The gloves are completely off. The fragile facade of their former friendship has been incinerated into ash. Elektra is staring down the woman who smiled in her face while secretly plotting to slide right into Will Spencer's bed. Elektra is not just heartbroken, she is vindictive, furious, and ready to scorch the earth. She is channeling every single ounce of the legendary Forrester legacy into a ruthless, calculated display of corporate power. She aggressively steps into Dylan's personal space, her eyes flashing with unyielding, terrifying authority. "I am Elektra Forrester," she hisses, her voice dripping with pure, undiluted venom. "If I wanted, you're gone." It is a direct, lethal threat. Elektra wants Dylan out of the building, out of her life, and out of Los Angeles immediately. She is fully prepared to use her immense family name and corporate leverage to destroy Dylan's burgeoning career in a split second. She wants to watch Dylan pack her desk and walk out the door in total humiliation. But Melissa Dillon does not flinch. She does not cower, and she certainly does not apologize. Instead, a smug, predatory smirk spreads across her face, radiating pure defiance. Dylan knows exactly how to play this high-stakes game, and she is holding a massive, untouchable trump card. She looks the Forrester heiress dead in the eye and casually reminds her of the current, highly volatile corporate climate. Forrester Creations is currently drowning in a massive PR nightmare following the Monte Carlo disaster. Management has already made it abundantly clear, they cannot afford another scandalous, headline-grabbing firing. They absolutely cannot afford the terrible optics of a messy, personal vendetta playing out in the HR department for the press to devour. Dylan leans in, completely unfazed by the Forrester intimidation tactics. She boldly, brazenly declares that if things get too tense in this office, she has absolutely no problem packing up her talents and marching straight over to the rival Logan fashion house. It is a brilliant, calculated, and utterly ruthless counterstrike. She knows Katie and Bill Spencer would love nothing more than to poach another Forrester employee just to rub salt in the wound. Elektra's fierce threat has backfired spectacularly. Instead of running Dylan out of town, she has just handed her former best friend the ultimate, untouchable victory. Dylan is completely shielded by the company's bad PR. And even worse, Elektra's aggressive, hostile interference is only guaranteed to push Dylan and Will closer together in their shared defiance. The battle lines are permanently drawn, the corporate war is escalating to unprecedented heights, and this vicious, deeply personal rivalry is about to explode in ways no one can possibly predict. The tension in Los Angeles is reaching a boiling point that threatens to consume everyone in its path. From the dark, lethal whispers in the CEO office to the frantic desperation at 30,000 feet, and from the explosive showdowns at the beach house to the venomous threats in the design room, the stage is set for a massive, irreversible decimation of the status quo. Will Carter cross the ultimate line to eliminate Sheila, and can Will survive Dylan's toxic trap? Drop your boldest theories in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and join the debate.